Hey everybody, it's MarVeena. I wanted to welcome you to my Angel Q&A today. So I have a mini presentation also in this video on the different signs, symbols, and omens that the angels use to get your attention and sometimes to warn us, sometimes to encourage us or to keep us inspired on our soul's journey here. So I wanted to welcome everybody and thank you for tuning in today. And be sure and let me know where you're coming in from. I'm here in Texas and it is a wet, icky, cold day here. Well, I mean, it's like 69, but that's kind of chilly for us. But it's kind of gray and gloomy. So let me know where you are tuning in from. And also put your questions in the comments below. So, hey, Jenny. How are you? Melanie, thanks for hopping on. Annalisa, I see you. Hi, Tia. Thank you all for coming in. It's going to be, I hope my dogs are good because they've been a little restless because they've been inside all day. So hopefully the angels will kind of encourage them to stay quiet. But I did want to encourage everybody to create a collective intention for your the session today. And if you have questions that you would like to hear about from either your ancestors or your angels, then just create that intention and trust that your angels will get you a message of some sort. It might be through me. And I really feel like they have a genius way of collaborating with other people's angels and maybe giving several people an answer to their question by one person's readings. So it's important to have an intention for everything that we do. But when you're sitting with spirit or with your angels, it's doubly important that you have clarity about what you're intending with your time and what's most important for you to get out of a session or a reading. And just trust that your own angel crew has your best interest at heart and that they can move heaven and earth if necessary to give you an answer. I also feel like that the universe really practices the art of tough love and that they're always encouraging us to kind of step up our game in regards to our self-mastery and how we're evolving and maturing as we progress on our soul journey here. And there's a lot of times where we want somebody else to confirm something or to validate something when our angels might be saying, hey, you know what, this is a time for you to feel things for yourself and kind of get your own sense of what's going on. And it's always nice to have it validated outside of ourselves. But there are times where our angels sort of put their foot down and say, okay, you have a really fabulous human mechanism, and it has so many features on it that we never tap into, and it's important that we start to kind of activate some of those different applications. I always look at the angelic realm and their support as sort of like the idea of if you ever went bungee jumping or rappelling, that, you get up on that platform and it's like your angels or the guide is standing there and they're getting you all strapped up into the rig and they're telling you what to expect and how to go across the different lines that you're rappelling across, or zip lining, I guess would be the better way to explain that. But they say, okay, we're here to support you. We're here whenever you jump off into this human adventure. And when you get to the other end of that zip line, there's an angel there that's going to help you kind of get back on that platform and get grounded and get your bearings, and then give you a little bit of encouragement for the next zip line. But there's times where we're on our own, and that's the fun time, or it's supposed to be the spectacular, adventurous time. But we always want to trust that we have angels that can help us kind of get grounded and get kind of aligned back with what's important for us to pay attention to while we're here, and what's the most the best way that we can go about our soul journey here. So they're always here, they're in the background, and whenever we really quiet our subconscious mind, we're in a position to be able to get a little bit of insight from them. And often we wanted to come in a way that we can verify it with our physical senses. And sometimes we do get that, but a lot of times they just gently float across our mind, ideas, information, encouragement, maybe images, but it's up to us to pay attention to that and to discern how does it feel to us right now. And then it's important for us to take action on it. So I am going to be going over some different symbols and signs and omens that you can look for, and realize that your own angel crew might have their own way of getting us information, and we want to verify what we get as well. Be sure and stick around to the end, because I will be giving away a free 30-minute angel reading to whoever shares the most. So be sure and hit that easy share button up there. And if you can think of a few people that might enjoy connecting to their angels, or maybe they're going through a really sad time, then this is a great way that you can help to encourage them or to inspire them. So be sure and share. And that reminds me that Jackie Stewart, you're the winner from my last angel Q&A. And so we'll get together and we'll do your free 30-minute angel reading. And if you have questions for your angels, be sure and post those in the comments. And you might need to post them a couple of times, because I have 2 different feeds that I'm trying to keep up with. So sometimes they go by fast. Hey, Rachel, good to see you here. Savannah, hi, Janie. Thank you all for visiting today. Another thing I wanted to tell you is that be sure and just hold a vision for us connecting to each other and just creating a beautiful portal for our angels, for the archangels to come in today and to be a part of this session, and to bring in inspiration that can help us to stay motivated for the rest of our soul's journey. However you like to connect to the spirit world, just call them in. And even if you didn't plan to be on this video today, just trust that you're in the right place. And sometimes our angels have unusual ways of getting our attention and helping us to kind of get a little bit of insight that can help us to move forward. So, and also share some of the ways that your own angels will bring you messages. So typically when angels are bringing in signs or symbols, then often you hear about feathers. And that is one of the ways that they let us know that they're around and that they're trying to keep up with what's going on in our life, or they're trying to help us stay encouraged or to stay inspired. And you know that the angelic kingdom, that they have a hand in everything that happens in this dimension. So they can utilize the animal kingdom and the mineral kingdom to kind of get us a little bit of a message, or to get our attention, or to help us maybe stop and think. And maybe during that that interruption, we call it a pattern interruption, it helps to slide a different idea across our mind, and maybe a different way that we can move forward and kind of get back in harmony with our higher soul's blueprint, plan, and purpose. So they can use any of the different animals, the birds, feathers. They can use the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, to kind of get our attention and help us to stay encouraged. So white feathers are one way that they help us to know that they're around. Another way is they might show us like a rainbow. We might see like streams of light coming in from like an unusual source. They might put like a penny in our path. Usually it's when you see the heads up, and especially if it's a new penny, to me that is a particular sign that someone is trying to get our attention, or our angels are trying to get us to stop and be present in the moment. And that helps us to kind of realign ourselves with our higher blueprint. Our ancestors will also bring in a lot of different signs and symbols, and we have to kind of think back to maybe some of the habits that they had, or the things that they like to say, or the things that were particularly special to them. Like in my house, we have never had anybody that lived in our house that smoked. And every so often I will smell tobacco smoke. And I know that that is whenever my grandfather is around, because he liked to smoke tobacco. But for some of you, you may get a sense of tobacco smoke in a very unusual place. Like you might be out for a walk and all of a sudden you just get a scent of tobacco. And that is usually a sign, not from the angels, but from one of your relatives on the other side, that their thoughts are with you that day, and they're trying to maybe help to bring you an idea or a message, or just to let you know that they're hanging out with you. Birds are a particular way that both our angels and our loved ones on the other side, that they use to get our attention. Quite often we'll see red birds, we'll see bluebirds, or hummingbirds will come in. But usually it is going to be in a out of the ordinary scene, or out of the ordinary time, that they will make their presence known. For instance, one of my best friends, her husband passed away, and before he died, he ordered literally like 100 bluebird boxes. She has a huge ranch, and he especially ordered from this guy up in Oklahoma 100 bluebird boxes to be delivered. And then right after he bought all of these bluebird houses, he passed away, and his wife didn't even know that he ordered those bird boxes until about a month or two later. And this guy shows up and says, "I've got your bluebird boxes. Where do you want me to put them?" So she had him just spread them out all over the ranch, and her ranch actually wraps around my ranch. So I have zillions of bluebirds around. And anyhow, she got really sick, and she was in the hospital. She was going to have a surgery, and I was really concerned about her. And so as I was going over to the hospital, I said a prayer, and I just said, you know, angels, give me a sign that things are going to be okay for her. And literally, the moment I said that, I was driving down this road, and on my right-hand side, there was one tree and a whole covey of bluebirds just flushed out of the tree, which I've never seen that happen ever. And the birds just flew straight up in the air, and then they came straight back down into the tree. And so I knew that that was her husband's way of saying she's going to be okay, because the bluebirds were his sign to her that he's always going to be around her, and he's going to continue to bring her blessings in the way of the beautiful little birds. So that was my sign that it was going to be okay. Now, if I happen to have seen maybe a bluebird that, like for instance, I ran over it with the car, then that would be a bad omen that things weren't going to turn out well. Or if I saw a bird that had been hit, especially a bluebird, then that would be considered a bad omen, that things might not turn out the way our ego wants them to turn out. And quite often our ego has a whole different idea of what's right and what's good and what's best than what our higher self does, or than what the angels and the Holy Spirit does. So sometimes we really have to pull back our ego and just ask our higher self to help us make sense of whatever it is that's going on. Usually when you see a red bird, then it's either going to be your angel just trying to get your attention and give you a little bit of encouragement at the time, or it could possibly be a loved one on the other side. In the metaphysical tradition, usually the red birds are a symbol of your of like a male loved one, although not all the time. And bluebirds are a sign and symbol that a female loved one on the other side is trying to get your attention. But that's not 100% of the time, because in this case, her husband had ordered those bird boxes, and so she really associated the bluebirds with him. So you have to use your sense of discernment and just feel, what does this feel like? Does it feel like something from a particular loved one, or a grandson that passed away, or someone that you really associated that symbol with? Whenever you see different flowers from the spirit world, the color can be a meaning unto itself. So like when you see roses, often I feel like roses are very connected to Mother Mary and the Archangel Mary. So, but other people might associate them with someone that actually had that name, like the name Rose is in their name. And so you just have to tie in whatever it is that you get about that. And other times you might see yellow roses. To me, that would be a sign that maybe a friend is around, someone that was like a really good friend. But different colors have different meanings from the angel world and from the spirit world. And so the clarity of the color is important too. So for instance, if you were to see like a murky blue or a gray blue, that might be a symbol of depression or of someone that was going through a really gloomy or sad time. And if you were seeing like a real bright blue, then that's like a whole different connection. Hydrangeas are often connected with the Archangel Uriel, and lightning bolts I connect with the Archangel Uriel too. When you see bees, a lot of times bees they're connected with the Archangel Sashael. And if you were to see like maybe a stage or a podium Usually that is a symbol that somebody that you might have associated with, like a speaker or a teacher. Maybe they were a Baptist minister or a preacher of some sort, or you might have done some sort of a speech whenever they passed away, or maybe you did some kind of event where you were the speaker for them in their honor. So you just tie in whatever you get with that sign or symbol, but use like the universal meanings as well, because they can kind of give you a hint. Whenever I see a rabbit in the spirit world, it can universally, it could be about the springtime. It could be associated with fertility, but tie in your own personal connection with rabbits or any stories that really stuck out for you, or if you're particularly calling upon a certain loved one and you know that they had some sort of a weird story or circumstance that was connected with rabbits, then that's kind of your symbol that they're trying to get your attention as well. I know when I was a kid, I helped one of my girlfriends move rabbits that she was taking to a market of some sort. And rabbits are not fluffy, friendly creatures necessarily, and they scratch the heck out of me. And so I don't really have that, happy of a connection with rabbits. So it could be about using the what you have to defend yourself, because rabbits have their ability to move away from danger, but they also have those little claws. So it could be a symbol that even though we might be small and seemingly defenseless, we do have some resources to protect ourselves and use what we have. And so that could be one of the reasons about that. But hey, Jackie. Hello, Marquita. Nice to see you here. Julie, hello from, is it Ohio? Wow. Hey, Lisa. Good to see you. All right. So, okay, other symbols. A lot of times will light on the phone whenever it's like it blinks on 11:11, or on our clock and it'll say 12:12 or 3:33, and those are kind of a way that the angels are they're using that to get our attention, and often it's to like trigger the codes that we have within our own DNA to kind of activate some different higher levels of awareness and maybe different bodies of understanding. So you might have heard of people at different times in their life where they just totally turned a new phase in their life. Like you didn't even recognize them from who they were like last week, and it's like they uploaded some higher levels of awareness and different ways of dealing with life and looking at life, and that might have greatly affected their behavior, the way they were living their life. And it's like at different times in our life, sometimes because we have earned the right to have access to more of our own, the codes that we carry around with us and the information that they have, but also the abilities that they might allow us to tap into. We have to demonstrate a certain level of spiritual understanding, spiritual maturity, and integrity. And as we rock along in our soul journey, when we kind of get to a degree of understanding, it's like our angels are able to activate different applications or codes or codices that we carry with us in our cellular DNA, and it comes in through our bloodstream, and we're able to kind of up level our game at different times in our life. So those codes like the 1111, especially 1212, those are master numbers, and they're just ways that our angels are able to get our attention, and we like shift gears. And you know how back in the old days when you had the standard transmission, we had the trucks, you have to disengage and push the clutch in. And I think that the symbols like that we see from time to time, they're a way of getting us to disengage and push the clutch in so that we can get another gear. That's one way that they explain it to me. All right. And so there's other symbols that you might see. Sometimes I'll see like a finger snap. And for me, it's like something's going to happen fast. That's the angel's way of just letting me know that things are going to turn around pretty quick, and or that a loved one that I might be doing a reading for, that it was kind of out of the blue and that they passed away without warning. And you might see when especially when someone died in a tragic death, that, or maybe like a suicide, sometimes I will see an image literally of a gun barrel, and it'll be like right up here to my forehead. And for me, that is a symbol of a suicide by gun. And that's never a pleasant thing to see. But they bring it in so real. It's like you can almost feel the metal of it. Another symbol for me of a ancestor that committed suicide, or that might be a person that might be suicidal, is if I see a lone wolf. And usually I will see it in the distance, and usually it will have its back turned to me. So, or it might kind of look at me out of the corner of its eye, but it will never look at me like head on, like eye to eye. And that is just a sign of someone that is going through some really severe depression, and they're seriously entertaining suicidal thoughts. So that's always a heads up from the angelic realm that this person is really desperate, and they're really needing to have some encouragement and some prayer work, and probably some clearing work, and just a lot of support, however that we can. When I see a symbol of a flag, I feel like it's a spirit that's wanting to connect, that was very patriotic to the country. And sometimes, depending on how I see it, it might be a relative that was in the military. Usually that's one of the symbols that they will give me, that they were a military person. When I see a baby blanket that's kind of waving to me, that is a symbol of a baby that's in the spirit world. And depending on how you see it and the color that you see, kind of lets you know if the baby is in the spirit world. It's kind of an awkward thing, because usually if I see a baby blanket and it has a baby in it, then to me, that's a symbol that there's a baby that's coming into this dimension. But if I see a little blanket and there's no baby in it, it makes me realize that this is a baby that has crossed over. And if it's blue, it was a little boy. If it's pink, it was a little girl. I mean, that's the way I see it. when the angels show me balloons, that is a special occasion, like a birthday. When I see rings, it's an indicator of an anniversary, or sometimes I will see like the cake top, where you have like a little bride and groom, and that's an indicator of like an anniversary, like a happy anniversary time. So doves are my symbol that Jesus is around, and or that it is it's like someone that is maybe getting ready to transition, that it's like getting close to their time. One, they will use whatever they can to give us a little bit of encouragement. I know when I had a really, 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 really special weenie dog that passed away, and his name was Hunter, and he crossed over very young, and that made it even harder to take. Even though I see spirits and pets sometimes, and the angels, it doesn't make it any easier really to lose special animals and loved ones that I have. But I lost a very special weenie dog, and so, you know, the minute that he crossed over, I was asking the angels to help me get a connection with him, or get some sort of sense that he was at peace on the other side, or something about him. I didn't get anything for a long time, and you know, I was really sad about it. And so I was sitting on my back porch one time, and I was just thinking about, like, why won't they help me here? And kind of feeling sorry for myself, and a little put out that I was being ignored by the angels, and that never helps. I'm just going to let you all know that you can stomp your foot and scream all you want to the spirit world, to your angels, to your relatives. It's not going to do any good. What will help you is if you can just get calm and just get into that place that things will unfold in their own good time. And when that ancestor, or when your angels are ready to connect, that they will, and maybe when you are ready, that the universe will help to organize it and make it happen so that you can get a message. But I was on my back porch feeling sorry for myself about my little dog, and his name was Hunter, and he was the cutest thing ever. Totally my love of my life. But anyhow, I got up, and I was going to turn my water sprinklers on, and we had just installed a new sprinkler system box, and so I hadn't used it before. But anyhow, I opened that box up, and the name of the system, weird, but the box was like right eye level with me, and I opened it up, and I was going to turn my sprinklers on, and there was his name, Hunter, right there in front of me. And so that was kind of like that was the first sign that I got from him, that he was okay on the other side. And it just made me feel like, okay, the hand of God was within this, even though he was very young, even though he was the love of my life at the time, that we were going to be okay. But that's one way. So just realize that we have to use what they bring to us and interpret it. And you can't sabotage and like force a symbol to happen. It just doesn't work that way. But just know in your heart, you create that intention that you have a desire to connect to your angels, or to a relative, or a special loved one, or even a little animal on the other side, or for whatever it is. Just hold that intention and that desire to get a little confirmation about it, And then you have to keep your heart open and your mind open and just be one who allows. And that energy just creates a really good dynamic that it helps them to get your attention when the time is right. So you may hear a song on the radio that you associate with them. It might even have a name that you connect to that loved one, or maybe a nickname, or it was something that was really special whenever when you were like good friends, you just really associated with them. Another symbol that the angels show us will be like the sign of a hawk or an eagle, and it has to be something that is out of the ordinary for it to be a true symbol. And so, like you all know, I live out here on my little horse ranch out in the middle of nowhere, but I have right beside where I do my readings, I have a huge window, and there's a water trough that's right outside my window. And so all day long, birds, they come and get a little drink out of my water trough. But I never see, hardly ever, like birds of prey. And we have them all over. But usually like hawks or eagles or owls, they're not going to come that close to a house to get a drink. For one thing, they have water sources all over, so they don't have to come here to get a drink. But one day I was doing a reading for a guy, and he was just really concerned about a project that he was taking on, and he wanted to know if it was appropriate to kind of finance a part of this business. And the minute that he asked that question, I had a hawk that flew to my water trough and sat right outside my window and just looked at me like eye to eye. And it just shocked me. But I told him that I always know that the angels, the universe, our ancestors, the Holy Spirit, however you want to connect, they're all working together to kind of give us some ideas and maybe some comfort different times in our life. And so I said to him, well, I'm just seeing a hawk outside, and it makes me feel really good about your project. And what was really cool is that he was going to finance this particular business endeavor, but they gave him a bank card, and on the card was the symbol of a hawk on his credit card. And so that was kind of his way of like getting the affirmation that it was going to be a good project for him to work with. Now, if I saw the hawk and it was dead, I would feel not so good about that. Encouraging him to go forward with it. So we have to kind of weave in our experiences and how we feel about it too. Signs for me that there is like maybe evil around are going to be like blowflies, especially if they're in an unusual place. Like if you have those big old icky blowflies in your house, then to me that's a bad sign. Another one, and everybody has different personal signs, so that might not be the same for you. Another one is rats. So and you know, I don't have anything against animals, but when I see rats, I get a sinking feeling. To me, that's not a good sign for and another one is snakes. So everybody's going to have their own little thing about how they get information. Coyotes are, for me, they're a symbol that it could be someone that's trying to trick you or trying to confuse you, that sort of thing. So I don't feel like they, but again, it's depending on how they're presented in your vision. So Molly was writing about her friend Mandy, and I just feel like the angels are wanting to just let you know that that your friend, that the hand of God was within this, and to just trust that the angels are supporting her as she moves into the spirit. And even though she is very young, and it's very hard for us to appreciate, especially when a young person moves into the light. Just trust that there's life adventures for her waiting on the other side. And I know it's small comfort for you right now, but just whenever the time is right, she'll make herself known to you. So it'll probably come in a dream, but it might come at any time during the day. It's usually whenever the unconscious mind is kind of allowing and not really focused on other things. It'll just kind of drift across your mind. You'll just start thinking of her, or maybe something that you associate with her. But in the meantime, just hold some light and love and prayers and good intentions for her to be at peace with her journey here in this dimension, and to go into the light. And I just feel like that is something productive that you can do, is just hold a vision of her going into the light and embracing the light, and just trusting that there's adventures for her on the other side of the veil. So I know it's really hard whenever people when they cross over early, but you know, the angels do not. We judge it as being bad, but the angels, the Holy Spirit, it's like for them, it's whenever we die, it's like we're walking out of one stage and we're walking right onto another stage where we have opportunities for adventures in a whole different way. So Patrick Lombardi is hoping to connect with his parents, and will his health improve? So Patrick, the angels are just wanting you to know that it's important to take some strong measures for your health, to be very purposeful about what is either you're putting into your body on a regular basis on many different levels, not just what you eat and drink, although that's important too, but also how you're running your energy, and what you're thinking. And particularly, it's important to make sure that you are working your personal pieces as best that you can by doing forgiveness for anybody that you feel has ever wounded you or disappointed you or took advantage of you. And do the forgiveness work and call back your power, call back your soul pieces. I do feel like, in particular, your mother's energy is around, and the angels are showing me someone that was connected to the medical profession, like for instance, like a nurse or something to do with that. But I do feel like your parents are just wanting to be a support for you however that they can. And I also see a piece of jewelry, and I see a rose connected there on your energy. So just know that they're here for you today and just want to be a blessing however they can. So Stevie Nash writes that the angels and the spirits contact me at different times with no particular pattern. So Stevie, they do. If you want to establish a better relationship with your most holy guardian angel, the best thing that you can do is to create a regular time every day to sit with your angels, and think of it as your ceremonial time with your angels, with the Holy Spirit. Even bring in your ancestors if you want to. You can burn a candle, light some incense, and ask that they sit with you and that they help you to have a little bit of insight about the different opportunities that are around you, or even the different challenges that you've got going on, and maybe some ways that you can engage with those challenges. And you always want to do it from the best place of integrity and impeccability that you can. And that's going to help you to, I think, come out a winner in regards to those challenges. But they always will bring you messages just whenever it's like you're ready to get a little bit of a nudge, then, and they think that you need some encouragement or maybe a redirection. So don't worry about that. But I think it's good to establish a regular meditation time. And if you show up, they'll show up always. But if you are not very regular, like every so often, or you're hit and miss about meditating, then don't think that, oh, you're going to get all these downloads of information because you sat with Spirit, once a month. It doesn't work that way. Usually it's like they need to see that you are making a regular commitment, and then they'll back you up. So Debbie Clayton, I just feel like your mom is just wanting you to know that she hears your prayers and she's okay on the other side. And she's with your husband, she's with your son. There's a lot of your relatives that are stepping forward to welcome her into the light, and they just hope that you don't feel too abandoned, although they know that you do feel quite abandoned by them. But they just want you to just hold on to the idea and faith that that you'll be reunited with the special people in your life. But it's important for you right now to appreciate the living and the family that you still have here that are focused in the physical body, and to make the most of the rest of your soul journey. And they do hear your prayers, and they hear you talking to them, and they know that it's very discouraging for you. And they just hope that you can just have some faith that things will work out for the good in the end. And I feel like they do try to give you some signs here and there. And but when you're really heavy in grief, and I know that you've had some major things that have happened one right after another, and often whenever we are in the middle of this grieving time, and seriously that can last a year or two straight, then it's very hard for us to get the signs and to get the visions, because the energy of the grief is it's like it lays in our aura, and it makes it very difficult for the angels and for our ancestors on the other side to get a message through to us. So the way I see it around you is like a gray, wet blanket, like a wool blanket. You know how they get all icky and it takes forever for them to dry. And so that's the energy that is around your aura. And that's what grief does to us. That's what sadness does to us. So it's important to do your best to get some light into your energy field. Do that by ceremony, by meditation. That will be the most helpful in breaking up this wool blanket that's wrapped around you. But you have to get out from under that, because not only does it block you from getting the visions from your loved ones and any signs or symbols from your angels, it blocks you from getting energy into the chakra system, and then the organs are not being nourished by the chakras. So you need light into your system and into the chakras and into your body. So I suggest doing some meditations and ask your angels and guides to back out the gray energy around you, to break up the grief energy and to bring in light and as much as possible, and to just infuse your golden web with love, with light, with healing, with vibrancy, with healing colors. Ask them to do that, and I think that will be very beneficial for you. So Debra Garcia writes, will my financial situation get better? So Debra, what I would just suggest that I'm feeling like your angels are just kind of encouraging you to do is to work with the angelic realm for a while, like on a regular basis, and just ask them to help you open up more of your spiritual gifts. And we all have, the way the angels kind of show it to me, it's like we have these rooms, and within these rooms there's abilities, there are understanding, knowing of the different mysteries of life. And so it's like when we unlock some of these special rooms, they hold within them opportunities, and those opportunities hold within them the way that we can create more abundance in our life. So I feel like you're blocking your abundance vows, like they're being diverted into some other situation. So I would ask your angels to clear your abundance issues, and to I don't know how to say it, but just when you go to sleep at night, ask your angels to work with you and to clear any issues so that you can activate more of your abundance codes. And so almost without fail, when we ask for something from the angels or from the Holy Spirit, from God, however you think about the universal architect, it's like we want something, but in order for us to get something different, we might have to take some action that's different than what we're currently doing. And it's almost always going to be uncomfortable and outside of our happy spot. But it might look like changing things up, going after a different job, or brushing off our, what do you call that thing? Resume. So I've always been self-employed, so I don't do resumes, but you may have to take some different action steps in order to get something different. And another thing that the angels are telling me is that when they feel like we're getting too comfortable and we're not challenging ourselves enough, that sometimes hardships are created that force us to do something different and to take some action in some different ways that we have fear about. We're afraid that we're going to look foolish, or that we can't live up to those expectations, or that we're going to fail. But they want us to keep up leveling our skills. And if we just get locked into the same old pattern, and we never challenge ourselves, and we don't even make efforts to do things differently, then they will like yank the carpet right out from under us. That might look like losing a job, or being booted out of a situation that you were perfectly comfortable in or happy in, or that you may not be happy in, but you just got used to it. So I feel like you're going to be able to move through it, but not without effort from yourself. And so, but you know, they want you to just trust that that you can engage with obstacles and you can come out on the other side smelling like a rose. So I don't know, I just get a name with an H connected to you as well, like a Howard, or I can't, it just seemed like a name with an H was coming in on your vibration too. So Brandy Peterson is wondering if her angel is in agreement with her life's direction. So Brandy, thank you for the question. You know, our angels, they know what your original blueprint is, and they know whenever you are making decisions that might take you like radically off that path. There's a certain amount of leeway that we have, that that we can take some little adventures, and they might not be directly in alignment with the most important things for us to witness while we're here, or for us to be a part of. And if we kind of get going down a road that is going to radically take us off our highest path and purpose, then we'll start to feel extremely uncomfortable. And we might not be able to put our finger on it, but we will feel agitated. We'll feel like we're not doing something right, that we have to, we may not know what we need to do, but we know that we need to do something different. So your own physical body, your physical mechanism is hardwired to reflect our soul's blueprint and our higher purpose. And so it can give us signals that we're either on course or we're off course. And so when we feel neutral and we kind of get that sigh of relief, that's how we know that that we're kind of rocking along on our soul's path. But when we start to feel really agitated, then that's our signal that we need to make some adjustments. So our angels don't judge you, so they're not going to judge you, but they try to help you feel supported and give you maybe some different ways that you can kind of get back into harmony with your higher path and purpose. So I feel like now is a good time to do some reflection and to sit with your angels. And a great way to set this into motion is every day, just create the intention to be in the sweet spot of your soul's highest path, plan, and purpose. I have, if you haven't already, be sure and sign up for my free angel ebook, because I have like some little meditations and ceremonies in there that kind of help you to activate that. And it, by creating that intention, it kind of gives permissions to the universe to kind of give you a little nudge of when you're right or wrong, or when you're off of it. And so they'll help you out by whatever means that they can to let you know that you're on path or that you're radically off path. So Debra Cersei writes, what are my angels saying? So Debra, your angels are just wanting you to know that your mom is particularly hanging out with you today. And so she gets a big kick out of you girls. And she just, she's really interested in your journey right now, and particularly with your new husband. And she just wants to tell you good luck. And she's very proud of you. She just said that she got a big kick out of you. And she, particularly because she thinks that you kind of take after her in regards to your big personality. So, but she's around you. And I feel like there's some other spirits that are there too. But just know that your mom in particular, oh gosh, is hanging out with you today. So Deb Bushy writes, what does it mean to be in vibrational harmony with the angels? So to me, you know you're in harmony with the angels when your energy feels, you might feel excited, but you don't feel negative emotions. So our energy field is hardwired, and when we feel negative emotions, that is, it's kind of like that you're in a car and you're ramping up too much, like you're gunning the engine too much and you need to shift gears. So that might be with regards to the angels, that you need to take a little bit of a different approach, or change up your energy and how you're working with something right now. So anyhow, I hope this helps a lot, and be sure and sign up for my angel ebook. I have some special prayers on there, different ceremonies that help you to stay connected to the angels and to especially work with the Archangel Michael and Mother Mary for protection purposes. So thank you all for tuning in. And if you have other questions, I will be going live next week on Thursday. So that's what I'm planning so far. So I hope to see you all there. So thanks a lot, everybody. I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.